Hey everybody, Jonathan here, and today we're going to be going through a donkey kick. This is a heavy leg exercise and it can be performed on 3 types of spring levels. 5 whites is light, 1 black is heavy, and a black and a white or additional whites will make it the heaviest. Turn the handlebar out towards the side. Target leg is going to be our left leg today. Walk to the front of the machine and then crawl forward onto the carriage. Your knees want to be hip width apart, knees right underneath your hip, not forward like this where it's in a diagonal line, but right underneath. I like my hands underneath the straps with my 4 fingers underneath and my thumbs on top, or you can place your hands on top of the bars like this. The reason why I don't like my hands on the bar is because people will tend to push forward with their upper body and arms, and you can see that my arms are a little bit more slanted forward when they're holding the handlebars. So I really like the hands underneath the strap so that the shoulders and the wrist are in line. You want to really be mindful of how your foot placement is on the bar. It's not directly in line with the bar and it's not down towards the floor, but in a 45-degree angle. And the reason why this is because of our hip. Once we push out 95% so that we do not lock the knee, we're able to turn the left hip down and in towards the body so that the back is flat. If we didn't do that, our hip would be slanted down and diagonal. In order to turn down the hip, you must push 95% out first in order to turn it down, because if you're in this position at the back, you can't really turn the hip down and in. Another reason why your foot is not off to the side in line with the bar is because you can't turn the hip down and in. You need to move the foot 45-degree angle. And the reason why you don't want your foot facing down to the floor is because that is what I call a quad kick, working more of the quads, when the donkey kick works more of the hamstrings and the glutes. You want to exhale as you slowly push forward, only with the leg, not with the anchored knee, not with the hands on the carriage. And then inhale as the left knee bends to slowly bring the carriage back in. What you don't want to do is go too fast. You don't want to jump off the bar. And especially don't push forward with your anchored knee or your hands. This is what you'll see when people do it incorrectly. They'll push out with their leg, but then they'll want to push more. And you'll see that my right knee is moving forward with my arms. And this is using more of the upper body and using the non-target leg. So remember to tell the clients to only push forward until their left leg is 95% extended so that you do not lock out the knee. If you're a shorter client, you need to scoot back even further towards the front. And at first, it's going to be a little weird for them because their hips and their knees are so high. And then their hands need to come back away from the straps. So there's usually dimples or holes in the carriage. And that would be really good right here. And then that way they get a longer range of motion to their height. If someone's a little bit taller, their hand position will probably be better on the handlebars because then their legs are a lot longer. So that way it's a little bit more comfortable for them. Let's talk about the modifications. In heavy spring exercises, the modification would be going down to lesser springs. 5 white springs if you're new, or if you haven't really tried the exercise, or if you really just don't have strong legs. So they can always turn around and just change the springs, or you can help them and just cue it on the mic. How do you make it intense? Add more springs, but this is what usually happens. When the springs are too heavy, you're going to start seeing people use their upper body and their bottom knee because it's so heavy that they're having a hard time pushing through their heel, or they just don't have that mind-body connection. Another way to make it intense is to fly. You'll bring your right toes down and curl them against the strap of the carriage, or anchor it against the bar in front of the carriage if you have it. Lift up off of your right knee, push forward, turn the hip down and in, and then fly, keeping the knee directly underneath your hip, hovered above the carriage. And this will be a little bit more difficult and more of your right quad, which is the right leg, which is the non-target leg. Another thing that you'll see, and I'll turn this handlebar so you can see my hips from the other side, is when they're performing donkey kick, their hips are leaning out like this and their body is slanted outwards. We need the hip directly above the knee and keeping everything squared. And you really want to make sure that their knees aren't all the way forward or their knees aren't all the way back like this. It's the knee is directly underneath the hip. And that is donkey kick.